Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you happen to be in. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we talk about and graze on wild ideas that some people might consider wild, but I don't necessarily think they're wild, nor do my guests frequently. So anyway, I have the intrepid Drake Bailey to interview here today, and we're going to talk about a number of topics. And how are you doing there, Drake?
I'm doing just fine. So far I haven't run out of coffee, so I'm good.
All right. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk about that was kind of interesting was the topic of Thor, the Valiant Thor. I don't know how many people know about him, other than as a cartoon type character on movies and so on. but Thor really existed and was here to help humanity and was turned down. So you know more about that than I do. So why don't you talk about it, Drake?
Okay. This gets fun. Once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, a spaceship landed in the backyard of the White House, not the front lawn, the backyard, so everybody couldn't see it. And these entities trooped in the White House through the kitchen and whatnot, and the president met with them, and the guy said, "Hi, I'm Valiant Thor." And really, it looks like everybody else does, an average person. They shake hands and well, come on with me, and we go to the meeting room. Well, what the interesting part about it is that Valiant Thor, in his official capacity, is one of the lead ambassadors between the ETs that live in the galaxy around us and planets that are looking to advance or transition. And what he does is he explains things and gives opportunities, options, lets them know what can be acquired or accrued, and all this sort of stuff. And Eisenhower and Thor are having a meeting, and they're bumping along, having a pretty good time. Both seem to be amenable to the other one. And then all of a sudden, the chief of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a general, pops up and says, "I don't like any of this. This is wrong." Thor and the president both giving him a funny look. He said, as long as you're on our planet, we're in charge. Valiant Thor got a grin on his face.
I bet.
The Space Fleet commander that was with Valiant Thor came into the. He didn't get into any of the pictures. That's the fun part about this. He's just off camera, and he says, "You guys, I tell you what. You self-righteous people come into deep space, and I blast you to dust until you decide to pay attention, listen." And oblige the situation, not us, the situation. You are not going to be allowed the privileges of traveling around anywhere outside your solar system for any reason. You can make diplomatic contact at a later date. We'll go from there. But until that time, don't come into deep space. And that was kind of you don't tell it, dude. You can't even catch our very simple craft, and you're going to tell us? You might want to think about that. Well, the problem is that our military was scared to death. The reason they were was because of the superiority of the technology that ET held. They could do what they wanted to with anything we had. Our best was, I don't know, it'd be kind of like having a Model T race, a Formula One race car kind of deal. Okay, this is an ideology. We're using stuff out of the museum. They have the cutting edge and use all of their cutting edge stuff regularly. So we were at a great disadvantage, and it scared the whatever out of the military. Then we found we found a hole in the reconnaissance or whatever you want to, safety net that had been placed in our area, or sort of partially around our solar system. And we had NASA put together the secret deep space program. So we are in deep space, but we've already had run-ins with ET, and ET is the master. They already told us, don't screw up like that again, or else. You know, they don't want us to slice and if they don't want ET to slice and dice things, it's not a good idea to shoot at them, among other things, which we did. Well, they wanted to bring a flagship on to the, I don't know what you'd call it, space station that we have. And they were asking permission when one of our so-called fighters, and I use the words that correlate to what people are familiar with. This is a space fighter. And one of our space fighters decided to open fire on their flagship.
A space fighter?
Fighter.
Oh, fighter. Okay, that didn't make sense to me at first. Okay.
Yeah. And they didn't really damage anything much, and more or less spilled the coffee on the commander on board, and he got pissed. So he said, eliminate that. And poof, our fighter went poof, disappeared, gone, vaporized. Wow. Then he turned the ship around, went back to the mothership, and said, I think we might have a problem, and played the video and the recordings they had as to what was going on, to include our so-called communications that can't be read or anything by anybody between our space station or central location and this fighter. And then they turned around and they said, okay, you think it's funny to fire on our flagship, on our, this is sort of like a diplomatic vehicle, so to speak. It's not something you go shooting at arbitrarily. Well, they arbitrarily decided to shoot at it. So anyway, so they turned around and said, we're going to give you a demonstration of what can happen if you decide to continue your aggressiveness. And they cut the end off of the space station. Not a lot, just enough to let them know that they weren't playing anymore. And then they said that was low-level weaponry, which it was. So, and that's an old story. That's happened years ago. But what we have to understand is that these beings are not looking to lord it over us. Now, there are some who would like to be in charge and take and do what they want to with us. Those have primarily been eliminated or driven away. The ones we're dealing with now are members of the galactic and universal councils and that sort of thing. And they're first of all, very amenable. Secondly, very peaceful, totally nonviolent in their lifestyles. And they get stuff in their hand, goodies, and they're offering a care package. Here, man, try this out. This really do a number on all that medicine you trying to say you got. Here, cure all your diseases. Take one.
I don't think I need it.
Okay, take one pill, and see how you feel the next day. That sort of stuff. And I'm talking about anything is wrong with you. You got some kind of skin anomaly of whatever kind, any kind of cancers, internal organs, all gone overnight. One pill.
Whoa!
These are the kind of care packages they're going to be handing out. Now, they're coming down with healing machines for the simple fact that nobody has been able to devise a pill that causes regeneration. They get real, the experiments with it showed real extraordinarily extreme and strange outcomes. So they decided not to do that. What happens is that the med beds are a quickie. They're not the healing cells that these people are all going to offer. What the healing cell will do is if you were born without an arm or a leg, or you got it blown off in combat or in an accident or something, it can be regenerated.
That is
So,
absolutely awesome. I can imagine what that would do for people. I've seen some videos sometimes where somebody hears for the first time and you just see tears streaming down their face, you know, of joy. So that,
but anyway, that happens in combination with the transition. They're supposed to start showing up slightly before the transition on one condition. Nobody is allowed to get your shotgun out and go after them. Leave them be. They might be funny looking to us, but we're probably just as funny looking to them. At least that's what I was told by a couple of them that really look strange. I say, man. Well, you gotta. I don't know, obtuse, ate up, and all that, and I couldn't resist. I had to ask. I say, you know, what's the deal? Do I look as screwy and squirrely and strange to you as you look to me? And it busted up laughing. I had never heard a ET laugh before. It busted up laughing. This is absolutely. So, you know.
This was a non-humanoid type ET.
Oh, this thing sort of exists and sort of doesn't at the same time. It's kind of like the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sometimes it's there and sometimes it ain't, and who knows in between, you know.
Wow, that's cool.
But that's some of the fun. These are some of my experiences that I've had with a combination of ETs and whatnot and situations.
Well, have you had any experiences with the elementals?
With a who?
The elementals?
Yeah, I am an elemental.
Okay.
Ha, ha.
I didn't know that.
My designation is red, just like the color.
Okay. Tell me more.
And what are the elemental colors?
I know the elementals as the earth, fire, wind, and air.
Well, you got red and blue. And what else?
Green?
Yellow. No, yellow. Green is blue and yellow combined. Yellow. Those are the three elemental or basic primary colors. Okay.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Then you have hold on. Then you have the extreme of all of the elements of light at whatever color or frequency together. That's white. Then you have the absence of everything in terms of light, and that's black. And those are the five. Now you understand what that means. It ain't difficult once you know, but I'm being an elemental, yeah, that's different. Basically, I'm my family is the Q, just like you saw on Star Trek and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
Well, you got to remember the guy that represented the Q and was acting stupid and doing things, he was a teenager. Yeah, he was considered a teenager, and in one episode they took him back. Mom and Dad took him back, and Mom, Dad, Mom, can't you tell Dad not to? Poof, he's gone. And Dad comes over the airwaves or however that worked and said, "We have restored everything that he screwed with. Hopefully it didn't cause you too much trouble. It won't happen again. We're sorry." And then he's gone. Now, what you have to understand is that you have several levels of beings. One of those is the ideology of a God level being. That's what the Q family is. They are a God level being. Our primary job is to maintain the time stream. In other words, nobody gets to play with it or screw with your time reference or things of that nature. Then past that part of it, a Q can do just about anything it wants to do. And that was proven on Star Trek.
I remember that. I remember Q.
Yeah. So, and some of the lessons were pretty definitive. But you have to understand, this is a teenager who was being taught these things and turning right around and doing them to the Starship Enterprise. You know, so Mom and Dad took exception to that. neat part about the being an original Q is that I'm slowly remembering the powers I had when I was running around the galaxy causing problems. I'd show up in a bar and bump into people and say, "What's the matter with you, boy? What, you want to fight? Huh? Come on, baby cake, show me what you." Yeah, I was nasty.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, so and that's mild. In terms of nasty, it kept bothering me that so many people were after me, so I decided to check out for a while. Time for me to rest. So I took a nap about quite a few billion years. I think it was around 40, but I'm not positive of that. I keep getting the number 4 with zeros, and it doesn't really. Anyway, so I finally get enough of my nap, and I wake up, and there's this program, and it's a voluntary program. And I said, "What's going on?" And they explained it to me. After the government told Valiant Thor to screw off, and they were that ET was not going to be in charge under any circumstances and all else. ET decided to start a different thing. They were going to involve the government at all. It's called the Civilian Project. And what they did was they allowed people to coexist in a human form, like you and I, with an ET in there as well. So you might have mastery of sciences and stuff that other people don't even have a clue exist. Okay. Then you have the other part of the civilian program was insertion. There is a crew, and the crew number varies, but these are the people that put the soul, life, and whatnot into a package, the spirit, and stick it in your head before you come out. That's basically what they do. Well, I volunteered for getting incarnated, as it's called, and here I am. So everybody has two responsibilities. The day you was born, you need to understand, that there was a reason for that, and the second part is to not just figure out the reason you was born, but what your mission is. What are you supposed to do? And you get to search the cosmos until you find out what that was.
So everyone on Earth has a mission of some sort, and that's what they're here. That's correct, right?
Exactly. It'd be kind of pointless if we just, no direction, no guiding, no guidance, no goals. What are you going to do? Lay on the beach for the rest of your life, or what? You can only party so much before that gets old. So anyway, we got that we're dealing with, and then we got the real fun and game where we're going to transition. That's going to be
That's
awesome.
What I was wondering when you said that about, like a teenage Q. We're going to have many, as people's abilities get turned on, we're going to have many people that might need a little training so they don't do things that might not be good.
Yeah.
Just because they have a power that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You need to talk louder or something.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you kind of trailed off a little bit.
I'm sorry. That's good.
Anyway, you're going to have extra abilities, and you're going to be surprised at some of them and how clear and easy they are. But the thing is, we, humanity, she's trying to look under the desk. Quit it.
No, I wanted to make sure I had this thing on because I was wondering why you couldn't hear it. So.
Okay. Anyway, so the gist of it is very simple. In terms of the transition, mankind has to prepare itself as much as possible. That means that all of the hate, aggressiveness and violence has got to go, pretty much as possible for us.
Jealousy, transition. All the lower emotions, is that right?
Do what now?
Would it be all the lower emotions, basically?
No. There is no lower emotions.
What? Explain.
Now, you're going to get into the psychological disposition of man. It's real simple. We have 3 functions. We have consciousness. That's one. we got the unconscious mind, and then we have the id. Now, and the id is where you're getting that lower emotion stuff. Let's see here, flight, fright, etc. That sort of thing. Okay, that comes from the id. Now, the id is, self-preservation. When something nasty is devouring everybody, most people turn around and run the other way. That's your id working. Okay. The subconscious is an intermediary between the basic emotions in the id and let's see here, the capability of being sentient. And those same basic emotions run through the subconscious. Now, the neat part about it is that your subconscious mind is programmed, and it's programmed to accomplish certain goals. There's a statement: you are exactly where you have decided to be. Doesn't matter what your situation is or any of that. You, not nobody else, you have decided exactly where you want to be. And that's where you are. Subconscious mind makes sure of that. Your conscious mind takes in all this horse hockey, like this video that you're taping, and uses it in varying ways. A lot of the time it is simple entertainment, and that's where a lot of people lose it. If an individual understands their own programming, and mind washed voodoo stuff. What is interesting about the human condition is that you can program yourself. Figure out something simplistic to start with. I'm losing my car keys every morning. Well, then you want to tell your subconscious mind that you're not going to lose your car keys no more, and repeat it until you don't lose your car keys. And then you got it. You go, that's cool. Okay. Then move up to, I don't know, making sure the dog gets out or whatever. I don't want a hassle from my boss today. I don't want a hassle from my boss today. And you repeat that over and over until your subconscious mind picks up on it. And the situations governing your boss and his disposition towards you, you find out all of a sudden, hey, I'm not getting hassled. Yes. And you go, and these things can percolate into whatever you want it to be. You can be however or whatever you think you have the capacity to handle. And in some cases, and this is something that, you will get to a certain point and then you will be told, you get an access denied. I'm serious. Access denied. No, you do not have the correct composition of character or competence or whatever it is to proceed. Go develop that, or don't bother again. There's two of them. One of them is absolute no, you can't go beyond this point. You got to wait for the transition. The transition then takes care of all of the 3D horse hockey, old age, pain and suffering, hunger, and all this. Poof, gone. Somebody flips the switch, just like you do when you walk into a room and you want to turn on the lights. You flip the switch, bingo. That's how sudden the transition is going to happen. The more people who are in service to others, seeing to someone else's needs when you don't have that many, that is one of the preconditions to the transition. It's not absolute, but it is a requirement. And what happens is you quite simply become the better person you always knew you were supposed to be. In that process, other people, well, like if somebody's happy, it's contagious. It's like yawning. It's contagious. Okay, well, if somebody's happy and joyful and ain't life beautiful all the time and all that, you're going to go, is there something wrong with you? I mean, what are you putting in your coffee in the morning? I mean, no, I'm just enjoying it. What do you mean? I feel blessed. I feel righteous. I feel the light. Woohoo! You know, down the road you go. But the neat part about it is that when that person goes into a room full of sourpusses that are at the keyboard, this is mendacity, and I got to do this no matter how painful it is. And well, this person goes into the room and the lights come on. They walk around giving away ridiculous platitudes or something that is enjoyable. Hey, man, did you see over in the corner? No, what? Did you see over in the corner? No, what? Come on. You get 2 or 3 people over there, and you got a sunflower, and it's growing. Oh, that's a sunflower. How do you know? I planted it. It's in a big bucket, right? We're going to have a sunflower in the office. That's pretty cool. Okay, so the ideology of giving away smiles, the ideology of making your situation and condition contagious works. Just exactly like yawning. If you yawn, everybody else eventually in the room will yawn. Stuff's contagious.
That's true.
And when people discover they can be happy, the whole situation of the room, whatever you're doing, even the mundane funkies, get more pleasant. So this is the idea of using your sphere of influence to better mankind, to where that these people are actually heading in the correct direction to get us closer to the transition. That's the ideology.
Well, that makes sense because you're raising the vibration.
Yeah, it's called hoping.
Yeah, yeah. Just by being positive around people that are negative. Actually.
Yeah. Sometimes I've been so obtuse as to ask them what they're all upset about. What do you mean I'm not upset? I was, from that answer, I'd say you probably are about something.
I can tell.
I mean, did the kids put a jelly sandwich in your slipper last night and forget to tell you, or what? Just flip that slipper on it. Just what you need between your toes first thing in the morning.
Well, I read something interesting about the month of March on that same order, that there's all kinds of activations going on in March, the 333 vibration activation.
Yeah.
And there's 3 plumes. I read this. I thought this was fascinating. There's 3 plumes in your heart, and you got the plume, which is the spiritual power, the pink plume, which is sacred love, and the yellow plume, which is wisdom. So you balance love with power and you get justice. You balance love with wisdom and you get truth. And these 333 activations are preparing us for all the karmic release and purification. And people are seeing these numbers. I've seen them for a long time. 333. Oh my goodness.
You know what that is, don't you?
The Ascended Masters and Christ consciousness.
Nope. 369. Everything comes in threes. We're in 3D, going to 4. We're looking to learn enough in 4 to go to 5. When we get acclimated into 5, we'll go to 6. And then we take a break for a while.
Okay.
So 25,920 years worth of a break.
Then do we move to 7?
Then we start going, well, when we're prepared and correctly oriented, we can move, we can start moving from 6 towards 9. 9 is your highest category in all of your numerics. That's the maximum before you go to 1 again. You add 1 to 9, you get a 1 0. Well, zeros don't exist because that condition can't exist. There is no place where there is nothing. So consequently, yeah, placeholder, so we understand it. It shifted in our mathematics, but 0 don't exist. Unless, of course, you decide to equate it with 1. 1 is unity, completion, or completeness. 0 is the spherical dynamics of completeness.
1?
Shifted gears. What?
Did you say 1 is?
1 is wholeness, or a completed whole. 0 is the spherical dynamics of a whole. to include your sphere of influence, how many people you come in contact with over your lifespan. It gets into a whole bunch of stuff. So there are certain things that have scared certain people. Some of these researchers that ET schooled, and some of the people that they thought would be better than what they turned out to be. The thing about this is relatively simple. You have varying levels of competence and the capability to perceive what's going on and act on it. Those are the three you just went through. You research to find knowledge, then you see how it is applicable. Okay, and then you go to wisdom, which is knowledge in action, and then you can go from there. And what happens is that people take small steps at a time, and as they progress, they find that that third thing they're looking at, the wisdom or knowledge in action, is starting to happen. Ooh, that's cool.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I see it happening on the planet. That's what's awesome.
So did you get to read some of my book?
I didn't get to read that. That's my goal for today. I was reading too many things to try to prepare.
Shamey.
Oh, I will. It'll be read today for sure.
It's sort of like a recipe for chocolate pudding. It's, first of all, hard to mess up, and secondly, you get results pretty quickly with it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's because I've been working on the out-of-body travel, consciously being aware of it, because we all do that when we go to sleep, but we're frequently wake up and not aware of it.
Not really, or not necessarily.
Okay, explain.
Well, the sleep domain is its own, and it's usually confined to the individual more than anything else. Normally, you're not easily influenced in the sleep domain at all. Trying to think here. The differential between sleep domain and astral travel. Astral travel only happens after you reconnect your body and soul pattern to your spiritual self. They have to be in unity. One of the prerequisites for that is balancing your personal chakras. You have several chakras. They need to be in balance so that you don't have a problem with your Kundalini energy, which gives you the, Superman powers that everybody's looking for. And as you are experiencing it rising, you also experience the spiritual connection, and off and down the road you go.
Well, how would people recognize that?
Recognize what?
That they have, well, I guess that's kind of obvious. I was going to say that they're connected, and how do they get connected?
Oh, okay. Well, the book explains a lot of that. It's a simple recipe like sugar cookies, but the neat part about it is very simple. First, look on the internet. Find something find a website that talks about balancing your chakras. This is your personal endeavor that you need to do. Okay. Once you get that down and you find that you can balance them, you're going to start feeling a warming, kind of a staticky electrical feeling near just right around your pelvis area on your back. That's the Kundalini energy. You've awakened it. Ooh. Well, then you want to concentrate and see it as such, going up your spine, and you'll start getting you'll get goosebumps and odd physical sensations and all kinds of, maybe nothing at all, other than you'll feel this thingy moving up, like a real minor pressure. Anyway, when it gets moved up, then you have everything in line. You have everything balanced, and you got the extra energy necessary, if needed, to do things. But first, you go, hey, Mr. Spiritual, here I am. And it was going to go, okay, I see you, just a minute, has to finish something up on the computer, and then he can, plug in or whatever. But the thing is that when you become united with your spirit, you also will have with you, so that you don't get in trouble, cause other people problems, or mess things up in general. You will have a spiritual guide. You will have someone, or entity that can direct you away from danger and into the good places. You can express the how would I say that? It can express your capability of new powers and things that you can do, and tool around the universe all you want.
That's awesome.
You can go slow, which is the speed of light, or you can go instantaneously, which is the speed of thought. In short, you get a picture of where you want to be in your mind, and make it as real as you can. Smell it. Reach out in your mind and touch it. Make it as real as possible, and then slowly open your awareness. Bingo, you're there. Now, how the hell did you just travel 5,000 light years in a matter of fractions of a second? Mm-hmm.
Oh, and how does the pineal gland play into that?
How to who?
The pineal gland?
The pineal gland. The pineal gland is your
Third eye?
spiritual battery.
Ah, okay. That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
That's that would be the best. It's also a very complex interface between physical and spiritual. It maintains your soul pattern and there's a whole bunch of things that goes on with the little bitty pea-sized pineal gland is major. And anyway, you can feel it if you want, but I don't bother. It doesn't jump out there and say, you got to pay attention to me. It doesn't do any of that. Mm-hmm. It just is.
Well,
and it's your pathway, your doorway.
Okay. Now, I heard a lot of people, they talk about having blockages in different chakras. Now, how would they remove them?
Oh, that's okay. When you go to balance your chakras, the first thing that's going to happen is if you get a really good sight, and a really good sight will, do you feel such and such in this area or that area? And that indicates if there is a problem. If there is a problem, it can be attended to, and they tell you how to do that. Then you get back to, okay, I want this such and such. Now the next chakra, somebody stuffed I don't believe it. They stuffed one of them friggin' plastic bags in there. You know what I mean? So it is that variable. At any rate, what you want to do is you clear and balance your chakras. Once you have attained that, you then have a capability of what's known as satori, or enlightenment. And basically what that is full remote viewing. You see anything you feel like you want to look at, and you get a whole bunch of images and whatnot to go with it.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
I was told one time that I have a throat.
Hello.
A blockage, or a block in my throat. And I think I've been working on it. Obviously I'm talking and so on. But there are times when, I want to say something and I can't get it out.
That's not a blockage in your throat.
Oh, what is it? It's a blockage.
That's when you shouldn't say what you're looking to say, and you're being blocked from saying it for that reason.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a totally different perspective.
That's why parents a lot of the time, especially dads, stutter a lot. I bet they're leaving all the expletive deletables out of the conversation and trying to talk to their kid. I mean, I wish it was different, but it isn't. Now, chakras are simple. They are an energy interface in your tree of life. That's you and only you. And you have a row of chakras. They start around your groin, and go up. Once you get those fixed, patched, repaired, and aligned or balanced, then you have the capability of unifying yourself with your higher spiritual self, and doing pretty much what you've always wanted to do. Now, one of the real problems that people have in terms of astral travel.
Ooh, you disappeared, Drake. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'll be back in a second. Hold on.
There you are.
All right, now. All right, I should be back. There we go.
Yeah, I see you. Yeah, you're back.
Okay. This system that we're using finally disagreed with me using that microphone.
It didn't like what you were saying, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, the situation is pretty simple in terms of acquiring this. You need to have a place that's peaceful. You need to have and quiet. You're not going to have interruptions by people kids or whatever. So then you need to go into really deep meditative concentration. Number 3, you need to absolutely and fully clear your mind of anything and all obstructions. And a lot of people have trouble. I can't sleep at night because my mind keeps well, turn it off. What do you mean? Turn the volume down. Oh, and as you turn it down, it slowly kind of looks around like, something happened. What's going on? Gone. Okay. Then you need to concentrate on a singular point of light, and you need to try to catch that point of light. You need to try to catch it so you can pass through it. And this is in the book I gave you.
Okay, I'll be reading it. I just haven't had a chance.
Right. And so what takes place is that you demand access. And unless you're really some kind of super pervert, there's no problem. And so you haven't killed 100,000 people, so you're not guilty. So there are no blockages or holdbacks in terms of getting yourself to a point where you can access your spiritual self and be completed. Now, back in the day, this is before the great trauma, some 25 to 30,000 years ago. Everybody walked around as a whole individual. They had their spiritual connection. They talked with their plants and their animals, and they knew what other people were up to before they got there, and the whole 9 yards.
Native Americans always used to say that the animals were like their brothers and sisters.
Yeah, well, and what you have to understand, some animals are stupid, just like plants. Some are sentient and aware, and there's a difference, and you'll find that as you have conversations with them.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
I was told in 4D that the plants will even talk to you.
Yeah, you'll have conversations, two-way conversations with it.
So you're watering a plant, and all of a sudden it says, "Hey, that's enough."
Yeah. Say, hey, man, I didn't sign up to go swimming, or whatever. So yeah, and the could you get me into a little more sunlight? I mean, I could use the charging my batteries a little bit. They'll tell you all kinds of stuff. What was hilarious to me, the most hilarious thing I ever saw, was a palm tree. And I had what they call fruit rats, and it's a mouse rat. It's about 4 inches long or so, and they run around in the palm trees and eat the fruit out of the palm tree. That's what they do. That's I guess their sole existence. I don't know, but I found that if I encouraged them, I could get them to do a running flip. They run up the side of the house, up on the roof, and jump over on the palm tree. And the palm tree thought that was hilarious to see these wannabe furry little thingamabobs doing their tricks. The palm tree started laughing. You have not lived. You have not been able, you've never perceived anything quite so hilarious as like a palm tree or whatever plant laughing.
Oh, what does it do when it laughs? How do you describe it?
So anyway, but you know, most of the limitations people have are self-imposed. You decided you can't do this, or it's not right to go about that. It's like the big issue with astral travel is that everybody says, well, I suddenly jerked awake out of my deep concentration and everything. I said, yeah, what did you feel when that happened? Well, I felt like I was falling. What's happening is the sensation of falling is reversed, and all of the physicality is falling away. You're actually rising. Big difference. People don't realize that.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Oh yeah, the whole thing is fascinating. Well, I'm going to get you to a point where you take your first full-fledged astral trip, and I don't know, you probably won't shut up for about a month.
Okay, I'll be more than happy to share that.
Well, you know what you want to do if people want to really, I don't know, investigate what's going on. Write it all down, every last bit of it. From the point that you finally get your chakras balanced and the Kundalini energy runs up your spine like a lightning bolt, and all of a sudden, boy, you're out in the universe. Ooh. What do you see when you're out there? Was it like an acid trip, all kind of colors and all of the, you know?
I've had that in meditation.
Yeah.
And seeing purple and different colors. That's really cool. Are you having a hard time hearing me? I don't get why this.
Yeah, I don't know if you need to put your microphone closer to you or what.
Yeah, that's what I was.
The mic I've got is very sensitive on the camera. It is super sensitive. If I clap my hands, it'd probably hurt your ears.
I don't understand why this.
I didn't hear what you said. Say what?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Whoops. Say what? Keep talking. No.
Oh.
I don't hear nothing right there.
Okay.
I hear something there. Can
Okay.
you get the mic closer to you?
Yeah, I can put it right here.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
Do you hear me now?
Oh, can you hear me now? Yeah, well.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to work.
Every time you drop a bomb, I know you're in the neighborhood.
There's supposed to be this is supposed to be a really good little microphone. I don't know, maybe
It may be. You just may not have it set right or something.
That's probably it.
Is it a stand up on a base, or is it a click type?
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, that's okay.
It's supposed to work really well. It's working with a technologically not that little.
See if you can turn up the gain on it.
The default micro has changed to.
I can't hear you.
It just says right on the screen now, your default microphone has changed to microphone array. Zoom has detected that your audio device is damaged. Please retie or select another device. Oh, great. What do you mean? How can it be damaged? I just got it.
I don't know.
Huh.
You tell me what it is.
I'll have to figure that out at another time. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you sound like you're at a distance.
Yeah. Let me turn it up, see if that makes a difference.
Have you got a soundboard that you're fooling with, or just knobs?
Do I have a what?
Do you have a sound mixer board, or are you just using knobs on a device? Yeah, go ahead.
Using I'm just using this Yeti. I don't, it didn't come with any software. It was supposed to be plug and play, but it doesn't seem to be working.
It's working. I can hear you. I'd turn your microphone up if you've got a volume control on it.
Okay, I do. Does that better?
Keep going.
Oh my God. Okay, now?
It's the same. I'll tell you what you do. You got a little knob. Hold on. Have you got a knob that you're turning?
Yeah.
Okay. take your fingernail very lightly and go tap, 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 tap. Now talk.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're going to have to turn up the volume.
It's going back and forth between this Yeti and my regular computer volume, and I don't know why it's doing that.
I would go back to your headset seemed to work pretty good. Yeah. Let's see if it works better.
Sorry about all this, audience.
I hope everybody enjoys this technical difficulty. While we're having these difficulties, talk to each other. Oh my. All right.
Now, if that's better, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Turn the volume up a little bit if you can.
Okay, is that better? Did you notice a difference?
A little higher.
Higher?
All right.
Okay. Now, is that better?
No, it's getting weaker.
That doesn't make sense.
Huh.
I don't get it.
There's only two things that can cause that. Open capacitor that's not counterbalancing, or an open resistor that's not providing the voltage necessary.
Did this make a difference, what I just did now?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me at all?
Oh, I can hear you a little bit. You sounded. Move your head toward the.
Okay,
over
you can hear me now.
Oh, now. Okay, that sounds a lot better, but it ain't,
Wow, because you're very loud, and I don't understand why this isn't picking mine up.
I'm very loud, huh?
Yeah, compared to what we're hearing.
If I turn my thing down, am I still just as loud?
Yeah. Why is
Oh, okay. So it goes directly to the audio pickup. Interesting.
Huh, that's weird.
Hmm.
I'll have to work on this, I'm afraid. But anyway, we better continue with.
Yeah. Anyway, so have you got a question?
Oh, I was going to go back over a little bit more over the elementals, the trolls, the gnomes, the dwarves.
The what? I can't hardly hear you when you sit back.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Okay. Let me pull the microphone closer to myself. Maybe that'll help. The giants, trolls, gnomes, dwarves.
Giant what?
Giants, trolls, gnomes, dwarfs.
What about them? Different races of beings.
Okay. And they do exist, though. And they used to be.
The giants don't exist anymore. They wiped them out.
Oh, okay. And there aren't any giants that are waking up anywhere or anything like that. Is that correct?
Well, they have a group of them that they found in the South Pole that supposedly were acting like they were going to wake up. The only problem is that they mind them so that if they move, boom, they're gone.
Oh, wow. Were they bad
And
guys?
they have been, and these entities have been told this.
Oh, wow.
So what that means is that they have they have an option: hold still or cease to exist. It's a Godfather deal. It's going to be interesting. These are supposed to be a form of the Anunnaki or Anubius rulers, that sort of thing. And these things think that they are going to come out of hibernation and automatically be in charge of the world.
Oh, really?
That's not the case.
Well, good. I heard that there was a giant that was killed by the military in Afghanistan.
Yeah, and I can't hardly hear you again.
Oh,
I don't know what this does on the recording.
No, I hope it's okay. I'm going to just.
Okay.
Maybe I can raise this up a little more so that to my mouth. Maybe that'll make a difference.
Now the side that is tilted up should be towards you on your microphone.
Side that's tilted up, like turn it.
Yeah, it's tilted at an angle. The up angle should be the side towards you if you want the best audio.
Okay.
I do know that much about my husband. I can give you enough information to get us both in trouble, probably, but you know.
Okay. Well, I'm warning. I'm not technologically all that.
Can't hear you when you sit back like that.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna have to be right on top of that thing till we get this fixed.
Okay. Yeah, because it's saying that it's damaged. Zoom, a little message came up and says the audio is damaged. So I don't know how it could be damaged, but I'll have to figure that out.
I can't hear you.
I'll have to figure out why the Zoom, every once in a while, it says that it's damaged. The audio that I'm connected to is damaged, and I have no idea why.
It could be the software involved too.
Okay.
Because if software becomes corrupt, it's operating something, it'll cause problems like that.
Oh, wonderful. I wonder if I have to take this thing back. I hope not.
Yeah, well, it's a good possibility you will.
Okay.
So yeah, there are giants, but they're gone pretty much. Other than that group they found under the ice on the South Pole, and like I said, they're mined, and they have been told don't move when you wake up. Now, I don't know if that means they can't scratch or rub their nose, or I don't know how far that goes, but my understanding of it was that they'll let them move around in minor form, but if they try to get up or stand up, bye-bye.
Okay, so no more giants, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But now the little dwarfs and fairies and all those little guys, they do, aren't they like stewards?
Lean toward the mic and talk loud.
Boy, oh boy. I need to get it up higher. Hang on one second. Can't walk away with it.
Right in the middle of recording, she leaves. That's interesting. She did.
I'm right back. I wanted to.
What'd you go get? Another book?
A book I could set the mic on so it would be up higher.
Okay.
Like this. Now you can even see it.
Hey, I can hear you pretty good too.
Oh, see, maybe that's what I need to do. I'll have to get a little platform. I just got a bunch of books here.
Well, what you might want to do is do you know somebody that's into setting up a studio?
Not really, but I'll see if I can find somebody.
See if you can find a technician. That's what you need.
Yeah.
You might express what you got, and he might say, "Oh no, you bought that piece of junk."
Well, it was rated good in Consumer Reports. It's a Yeti.
Yeah.
Or maybe I got a bad Yeti.
That could be.
But anyway, where did we leave off? The air. Oh, that's where the fairies are. People, I've had people report that they've seen them. They see them.
Yeah. You can see them at times. They're semi-interdimensional in terms of being able to be seen in 3D or in our world, however you want to look at that.
Apparently, they must have to feel very comfortable at the time or they wouldn't do that.
I can't hear you. What?
I said they would have to feel comfortable at the time or they wouldn't do that.
They don't do it intentionally mostly. It's an accident. They forget the fairy forgets to hold their concentration so that they can't be seen.
Okay. Because basically they would hide from us, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. They don't. Well, think about it. You got idiots out there who would grab a fly swatter and go after them and whatnot. And that, that wouldn't be too cool just off the top.
Yeah, or get a baby gun and shoot them or something like that, unfortunately. Okay. And then I also, what about the dragons? Do you know about the dragons?
What dragons are you talking about?
Well, when they fire the great dragons and phoenixes and are some of the fire elementals is what I was referring to. I'm referring to good dragons.
Oh, well, I am supposed to be the white dragon. I'm supposed to have the great battle in the sky with the bad guys. We'll see how that goes.
Oh my God! You know what's interesting about that? I've always felt like I had a friend. I was a friend. A white dragon was a friend of mine.
Well, I am according to the legend.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's some things that I won't put out on a show.
That's okay. Yeah, I understand. That's good. Let's talk about our codons being turned back on.
Who?
Our genetic codons or codes, or that activation that hopefully is taking place. Or Greg Braden says that we have like 64 codons and only 22 of them are actually operational.
Yeah, that's pretty much correct.
That's pretty pitiful.
You're not going to see it. You're not going to see the others reconnected until after the transition. But when that happens, and here's the thing: you have to understand the differential. In the Bible, it's stipulated. One of the entities says, "One of my days is as of 1,000 of your years." So if you think how quick they could move, and how the differential in time, reverse it, and you get a real interesting combination of things. Our developmental capability goes cha-ching right up off the scale. The interesting part of the ideology involved is that this is going to screw with people. The transition itself, though instantaneous, when somebody flips the switch, is going to get really interesting in terms of the fact that it might be several thousand years in length, depending on what time frame you look at it in. And at the same time, all of the schooling and all this other stuff is something that may look like it would take generations, might happen in a fraction of a second. So none of this has been adequately explained correctly. And the best part about ET time is stated simply, it's different.
Okay. Well, but people feel like they're waiting forever, and the concept of time.
Patience, grasshopper. Although in the correct placement in time and situation, it'll come about.
Okay.
So we're lined up, ready to go, pretty much.
It seems like it. So much is happening, and this is a big month from everything I've.
This is the year of rectification and the month of disclosure. And I don't know if anybody pays attention, but we have had a whole lot of ring around the rosy about higher education. Real recently, we had the disclosure of the problem with people buying their kids in. And now Trump says, well, you got a choice: abide by the Constitution, or you don't get federal money. And this is going to it's going to get dicey right quick. You have a choice. While in our country, you comply with the laws of the land or go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Latvia is looking for a few good people. Think of something.
Wow.
Well, the safe speech zones and all that, he mentioned several of these in his public release. And freedom of speech should apply, period. Okay, anybody that any person in a teaching capacity who promulgates being against the United States, whether it's a policy, whether it's socialism or what, in my opinion, needs to be fired. Okay, any educational system that refuses to comply with freedom of speech, take its teaching credentials away from it and tell it to close the freaking door. Pretty simple. I mean, I'm not quite as nice as about some things. Mm. People bump through, general public education, if you can call it education, and they learn their numbers and their letters and how the basic writing goes. They need to also learn cursive, and there's a reason for that. Your mind, when you write something down, remembers what you wrote down 10 times more so than something that you don't. So you can commit it to memory a whole lot easier. Now, here's the other part. Within the general public education system, kids learn how to form their own little societal areas, cliques, whatever you want to call it. They learn the art of diplomacy. They learn the art of self-defense. A bunch of things goes on. It's developmental. It's basic. When you get to somebody that has gone through that particular system, and they run to a college or university, place of higher learning, the true definition of higher learning is intercourse with people who are different, from different backgrounds, so that you can learn as much as you can. That's the fullness. That's the icing on the cake. You can go to class and learn from such and such textbook and all this other stuff, but you cannot learn the social parameters of trying to talk to somebody and make reason of it, or, hey, I'm curious about such and such. Do you know about it? And if they have the linguistic capacity to talk reasonably well and express themselves, then great learning takes place. Sometimes these people don't know English. Sometimes it is the other person's responsibility is to get them to a point where they could actually answer the question they wanted to ask them. I mean, they're going to remember you the rest of their lives because you taught them something of value, something that's real, functional. Okay?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's one thing I always enjoyed in my past. I worked with several different Native American groups. I worked with several different cultural groups, so let's just put it that way, from Mexican, Black, Native American, or whatever. And when you work with people and you're not the same, or you don't look the same exactly, it takes a lot to gain their trust.
Yeah.
They
have to be real.
Feel comfortable with you. And that's something I always felt like I was able to do. People would feel comfortable with me, and that's a good thing. And I always enjoyed learning from them because, I don't know, it's just interesting what the different way different cultures operate. And it seems like it got louder. Are you hearing me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Seems like it got louder. Well, that's because you're talking right more directly into the mic.
Okay.
I bet you.
Yeah, I got some. I'm going to have to take this in and get it checked. Something's wrong with it.
Helen, I can see you walking around behind me back there.
Okay. Let's see. There were some other things that I was going to bring up. Shall we venture into the quantum financial system? Or?
Well, that's fine. The Dow went down over 400 points today so far. And there's a basic reason for that. Some very basic reasons that they're not talking about. One is that we have a problem in economics called saturation. Most people who wanted a laptop or phone or desktop or whatever already got one. And so they don't need another one. Well, what am I supposed to do with 200,000, 50,000 of them? And, you guys are supposed to buy this stuff. I know, yeah. Who told you we were in a position or ready to buy that? Okay, same thing's true of obligations further than just straight up financial. Obligations go into things like the lack of participation in terms of the retail establishment, your brick and mortar stores. They could have, and they didn't, but they could have adjusted their operation to a point where you had one token store, maybe 2 per state maybe, or 3, or you could go look at it if you really felt you had to, or big online presence, and these people click, I got one, okay? That's your general retail snafu. When you get into things like houses and cars and whatnot, you're getting into an area where people refuse to participate in the social norm of you got to have a house, you got to have a car, you got to be married, you got to wear these clothes, and you have to act like that. That ain't me. I ain't doing that. And so you have a growing portion of the population of the planet refusing to participate. And that's basically where the problems are.
Where the problems are?
Yeah, in terms of economics.
Oh,
that's why the Dow's going down. It's not the world economy is not so altogether absolutely important as what people think. There are countries such as the United States and a few others who have been doing just great. They're running 2.5 or above. They call that growth. Well, my question is that if you have a stock that's giving you a good return, and it just seems to stay that way, why screw with it? Leave it alone. Let it continue to give you a high dividend and enjoy the proceeds. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to try to make the company expand when they're not really interested in doing that. Try to tell that to an economist and they'll go, oh, they freak right out. You got to have growth. No, you don't. You're looking for the quick buck of turning over one currency for another. And what you do is you go in and you buy a block of currency, and that currency, because you bought so much of it, starts going up, and you take and turn around and sell that suddenly, and you take all of that increase as profit. Well, that's what they do in terms of stocks, bonds, and all of it. That is the basis of money. You buy low, sell high, or something of that nature. Try to make enough profit to justify your expenses. That's usually between 10 and 20%. Averaging right now is around 17, give or take.
Are they moving to a cryptocurrency?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of rumors about that. The only problem with cryptocurrency is that it don't exist.
More magical zeros.
They have some nutcase actually printed a bunch of cryptocurrencies of different kinds, and so I got one. That's the only one in existence. I got one. Well, there's several problems with it. First of all, it doesn't exist. And secondly, I have not found one yet that's secure. I mean, it just they people have been going in there and just, I don't know. I think I want 8,000 of them today. They go in there, snatch it up, and walk out the door, and nobody does anything to them or bothers them. So, it's like cloud computing. A good example of that is cloud computing. What cloud computing is all of the unused small spaces combined and interconnected. Well, that means that however many little pieces you got is however many little firewalls you got to have. You see how it convoluted right quick. All of a sudden we got as many little pieces as we got cockroaches.
Well, how do you envision the new financial system coming in? I mean,
well, it's going to have to be integrated over a period of time. There's going to be, let's see here. You're going to start seeing the new gold-backed dollar in cash that you would take out of the bank or for whatever reason. You're going to find, and over a period of time, even that goes away. We go to a literal cashless society where you got a card. A card. First of all, there's two forms of transactions that can be totally secure. One's cash, and the other one is a properly oriented card. If this card is secure and secured correctly, you can't get into it. You can't play games with the account that it represents. There's and the problem with the whole thing is that you have to do this worldwide all at the same time. You can't just do it onesie twosie. Won't work, because people will jump in there and take advantage. So what you're going to have is a basket of a combination of national wealth along with currencies. It's going to be a basket of a variety of things. If you're a tomato king, then tomatoes figure into it. It might be bananas. You don't know, but you're going to have a basket of these of this applied by way of each of these countries. Now, there is a standard, a global standard that they will have to comply with in order to be viable. And by viable, I mean economically viable. That does not mean growth. It does not mean taking somebody's money out of their bank or any of that. It means that the valuation is ripe and ready for drastic change. And this includes like oil prices. We're not going to need oil that much longer. When replicators take over the world, we're not going to need clothing factories, let's see here, grocery store. I mean, you think about, well, a replicator can basically make anything. You need fresh clothes, you push the I want polka dotted underwear button and out it pops, okay, brand new. You take your old stuff or dirty stuff and I recommend folding it up. Fold it up, stick it in there and hit the recycle button. Bingo, it recycles. You want food, it will replicate to include all of the advantages of like live fruits and vegetables into whatever it is that you're getting. A lot of people like salads. Well, excuse me. There's an example. Small engine.
You can ask for a salad and it'll just make it, or it'll provide it.
It just goes poof and does it. It's like Star Trek or Fifth Element, or Fifth Element. They took a little pill, put it in the bowl. She puts it in there, closes the door, punches the button, opens the door, and she's got a full-fledged cooked turkey with veggies, big old bowl of it. Well, think about think about having to have only 5-10 minutes to make a full-fledged meal. Now, I ain't talking about your average onesie-twosie. I'm talking about a 5-course or whatever, the fancy meals you see in restaurants.
Wow.
3 to 5 minutes at the most. More like the really good replicators operate in seconds primarily. The ones that are not quite so good might take a minute and a half.
Well, would people be provided with these? Is that how that would?
Yeah.
Everybody would get one?
Yeah. Think about it.
Is that coming from ET?
Huh?
Is that coming from ET?
Yeah. We have, humankind has come up with replicators that sort of work kind of as well as the government. I'll put it that way.
Wow.
We put way too much stock in our so-called available and high science and all this other stuff. That's horse hockey. We can't even kill cockroaches, but we're going to manage the planet. Right. Sure you are. Well, guess what? I give you 10 to 1 odds that the stuff that they're playing games with, like chemtrails, is not going to work the way they want it to. Number 2, what happens if you piss off the living entity known as Gaia, or the planet Earth, and she decides she don't like that stuff? Well, you might have some aeronautical problems you've never seen before. I mean, it's not nice. Well, you remember those old commercials, and they got this lady in a white outfit, and she holds up her hand and says, It's not nice to fool with Mother Nature. Well,
Oh, yeah, I
think
remember that
about it
one.
in those terms. What would, like lightning bolts? Not particularly, especially up close and personal. Well, guess what? I mean, you have a situation where if somebody is totally healed, they're going to need no pharmacology. It's not going to be necessary. Now, the ideology of supplementation is something that will persist for quite some long time. And the reason for that is that the rehabilitation of the areas we use for planting crops has to be complete before you're going to get the full nutritional value.
Ah, yeah.
The nutrition in foods has gone down somewhere between 60 and 80% over the last 50 years. The reason being is that we are doing a whole lot of artificial horse hockey, and the plants are going, you want to bet?
I never thought of it that way.
How about if you think you're going to do that to me? My name is Mr. Broccoli, and I'm going to make it taste really weird. You just wait. Well, okay, we have been using things that we should not use for fertilizer. Hello, Roundup, glyphosate, Monsanto, and Bayer. You guys are guilty of poisoning the shit out of everybody. You need to go. Okay, let's go to another thing. We use 10, 10, 10, nitrogen, etc., in order to make the dirt be able to be productive, or more so, or as productive as it used to be. Why? Well, same thing with the saturation of the markets in terms of selling computers or widgets or whatever. When you over farm and you do not take the advice of people that know what's going on, you have to let a piece of land, and it doesn't matter if it's big or little, you have to let it go fallow. You got to do this every 3 to 5 years minimum. It's better if you do it every other year. And what you do is you can make a cutting, but you leave it all lay. And then next year, you come in and you make a nice clean cut. You'll find that it's got double what it was production a while ago. Number two, the new farming technique is called no-till. And anybody that wants to have a garden and they don't want to dig dirt might want to investigate this. It amounts to a big, nasty thingamabob being rolled over the garden area or whatever crop area you got, and it does a combination of things. Penetrates the soil lightly. Okay, it's only got tines, maybe, if I remember correctly, an inch to inch and a half long for penetration. And what it does is it's so heavy that it crushes all the plants, so that all the juice, sap, whatever you want to look at that as, is right there, readily available. Then you take what's called topsoil or planting soil, and you cover it up, mound it up where you want your plants, stick your plants in. You will have about anywhere from 30 to 100% increase in yield.
Wow.
Simple.
That's awesome. Well, that's what we need. It's funny. Organic has to be certified. It should be the other way around.
Yeah.
They should have to list all their poisons and pesticides and everything. I mean, if you were to read what they put on strawberries, you wouldn't eat them.
Well, you want to get into some fun and games. I don't know if you've seen the reports, but we have huge public water systems. And those huge public water systems are pretty much thoroughly polluted with just about every kind of drug that big pharma sells, along with chemicals that are used for different things. So the water is not safe. Now, I'll make a recommendation. I normally don't do this, but Berkefeld, called a Big Berkey, or British Berkefeld filter, actually takes everything that is larger than 2 microns out of it.
Yeah, they even have special filters that'll take out the fluoride, because a lot of the water filters.
that's what this does. This takes out fluoride,
I have one.
etc. So I recommend them. They're you can get the tabletop. You can get, if you want to get it expensive and spend a lot of money, you can get the kind that does a whole house or whatever. But I recommend getting at least the British Birkenfeld countertop, for the simple fact that when you start taking all them chemicals out, your whole life changes. Your health improves. Bingo. You're not getting things that counteract your system, like antibiotics that kill the flora in your digestive system, and you can't digest a bean. What do you mean? I eat beans and I'm not getting gas? Well, there's something wrong here. Yeah. Well, getting to somebody's good health is pretty reasonably easy in terms of making sure you got clean water. That's number one. Number two, supplement. You don't have to do anything drastic, but supplementation needs to happen. Now, right now, we have a problem in terms of the cost of some of these things. And I understand that. Not everybody can afford to supplement themselves. So,
and the ones that you're going to get at Walmart aren't going to do much for you. They'll probably go right through you.
Well, if it depends on which ones you get. I stay as much as I can with a product by the name of Solar Ray for one reason. They have never in their existence, never had a complaint or disparaging study about their products.
Well, that's interesting.
It's the only one I found that don't have any. I looked at that and I said, well, that's interesting. So I dug as much deeper as I could, and they said, no, we don't got any. I called them up. I said, is this bogus? Is this kind of some kind of fun and games you're putting out? No, that's real. And it wasn't us that did it. Oh, really? Yeah, it was independent testing. You know that little certification thing that you get on supplements?
Right. I tell
they
people,
got certified because somebody else did it.
I take that. I tell people that they should look for third-party testing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all. Solar Ray doesn't do. Solar Ray don't do nothing less. So there it is.
I have a product called Organics that I really like. It's food-based, and it's a good, clean supplement.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. and the water thing is so true. I have a big Berkey, and I also have a water distiller, and I use both of them.
Yeah, you use one either way. Yeah. It's better it's best to distill and then run the water through the Berkey. Distillation does not get rid of what is considered attached valence, long chain, molecular interfaces. I knew I'd remember.
Oh, that was a mouthful. Okay.
That's all, folks.
That's right. Wow,
what that is that your water can get charged. Everybody knows about that. Well, what happens if it gets charged the wrong way? That's what I just described. And it deals with each molecule of water being charged a little bit differently. No, nothing I know of removes that fully, especially in when you cook it. Put it through the Berkey, it's gone.
I like the Berkey. I have to start putting the distilled water through the Berkey. I didn't see the point of doing that because I didn't realize that the distillation process didn't get everything out.
Yeah, it don't.
Well, shoot. Okay. Well, I try to reduce my toxic load as much as possible, and I know water is absolutely critical. And the other thing that I frequently bring up that people do and don't think twice about is putting, okay, I'm going to have a cup of coffee and I'm going to put it in the microwave.
Kills it.
Yeah, it actually, changes the direction of the water and it has a very adverse effect on us. Pardon?
Yeah. Molecular spin.
Yeah.
It removes food value if anybody either cooks or heats with it.
You know what's funny is I've seen the studies that came out by kids. I mean, teenagers in science projects watering plants with microwave water versus just regular water, and the microwave water plants die.
Yes, absolutely.
And so
here, okay. We're coming up on 2 hours. You want to keep going with this?
Wow. I think we better continue at another time because sometimes when people see too much long, they go, oh, that's too long.
Well, the thing is, we could talk. We could probably talk all night, and
Yes.
really cause some people some. I don't
I could
know.
go on and on. There, I still got notes that we haven't even got to, but that's okay. I'll save it another time.
Okay.
Alrighty then, I guess we will do this another time. And I'd like to thank the listening audience, and I'd like to thank you, Drake, for all your information and
You're welcome.
and
We
so
can do
on.
this again.
I'd love to. We'll schedule it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for everyone. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you soon. And maybe I can get my microphone fixed too. I don't know.
All right.
All right. You have a wonderful day, everybody. And you too, Drake. And thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let me shut this.